Greetings, YouTubers and live videoers. It's me, Wayman29, and just wanted to not really go on a rant, but discuss some important issues that I see with the controversy between atheism and Christianity, especially on the most extreme ends, where you have fundamentalists. I'm going to just throw out the term extremist Christians, extremist atheists, extremists are parts of all groups. And the question is posed, how can a Christian thinking rationally end up believing that there is a God? What I see is really hard to explain, and I've read some pretty good people, and one of them being Richard Dawkins. I'm sorry, Richard Dawkins, and on his view about religion. And what I'm seeing is a lot of times when people read the material, especially some of the extreme videos that were posted on YouTube and live video, mainly coattail Richard Dawkins, to further their views, and they pick what they want, just like Christians coattail and pick what they want out of the biblical text. And it's pretty interesting how people who don't know anything about science take a phrase out of context of a lecture or a page in his book and go off on a tangent without really understanding the issue. What I found out is that if you're a scientist, you're going to be good at science. If you're a archaeologist or a biblical criticism or a biblical research, you're going to be good at biblical research. And a lot of times, to get the full scope of both sides of the issue, usually you'll find that one part of it's understudied. What's interesting is I have a lot of respect for Richard Dawkins. He's a brilliant scholar, and I tend to agree with a lot of the stuff he says. However, I still consider myself a Christian. And he touched on this in one of his interviews about how possibly that could happen. It's called compartmentalization, which means in your brain you have two compartments. And this exists in a lot of scholars, even some people that I've had the privilege of talking to. One of them being, I got to see a lecture by Roy Hazelwood, who was part of the behavioral science unit of the FBI and did a lot of research in sex crimes. And it was put to him, I was allowed to ask a question, what's your view on the moral values of society after seeing all what you've seen, and how does that affect you, psychologically? And his answer was that there definitely had to be a kind of compartmentalization happening, where when you go to work, it's strictly research and work, and when you come home, you have those things that are beliefs and theology and religion. And also, a really good author, I think his name is Frank Cross. He's a biblical scholar, and it was put to him, how can you still believe the biblical text as a belief system when research in the field may prove otherwise? And he compartmentalizes also. So that's the way people do it. And finally, I was able to kind of see, thinking about that, how it would work for me. Because at one point, I don't believe in being all extreme. I recognize brilliant scholarship and give them credit for what they do when they do it. And however, the players in the field sometimes just like to be, I don't know, they're not at the same caliber. And what I found out is, even with Bible scholarship, as with science and people like Richard Dawkins and Frank Cross, it's kind of like being in a football game. You have the pro players who are really good and they're on the field, they're taking the hits, blah blah blah. Then you have the people who are on the sidelines helping those people. Then you have the people in the stands who might buy all the material and go to all the games and root for their teams. However, they might not know all the names of the players, they might not know all the scores and all the stats and things like that. Then you have the people who, only watch the game on the Super Bowl. And a lot of times what happens is you get a person who goes to the games and sits in the stands, might not know as much as the player on the field, and he starts talking about the games and stuff, and he starts attracting followers who just go to Super Bowls. To me, that's kind of like what happens in scholarship in general. And I'm not saying I don't know everything. I'm still learning, and when I don't know something, I admit it. And a lot of times I will take criticism and corrections. How do I want to put it? I take corrections constructively and try to work that out. And as a Christian, I don't think I should be non-thinking. However, I do believe that there's an important role for beliefs in religion, at least personally in my life. And I do see the value of literature and the value of the metaphor and the transition of myth through time. And however, what really bothers me is when people on both sides the issue take the research and skew it to their own advantage and make it fit their own extreme ideas. And basically, what I found out is if you think the world is against you, it will be, and the inside becomes the outside. So if you think they're all coming to get me, self-fulfilling prophecy says that you'll probably be holed up in the house, saying, "Hey, we're not coming out." And I don't really think people should be like that. Like I think that I should, as a Christian, be able to critically talk about the biblical text and about science. And I don't really particularly, I don't really want to. I like reading a whole bunch of authors, not particularly coattailing on other people and misquoting people and things like that. Usually, if I talk about something, I really try to like name a book or write some kind of reference where I got it from, so somebody else might want to look. And if somebody finds something different, I check that out and admit the mistake. Whereas, some postings on here are very narcissistic, and they just like to hear themselves talk, unfortunately. And I think that atheists make very bad Bible scholars, and unless and very devout Christians make very bad atheists. So the failure to understand and fully research both sides of the issue is a huge gap in research, and even a huge challenge in the basic discussion of both issues. So I don't know. This is just a rant on some of the observations I've been making, and I would hope that as like some of these big scholars like Richard Dawkins and Frank Cross and Noel Friedman, some of these people, we got Sam Harris and other people who wrote some awesome texts. They need to be looked at and read and put into context. And a lot of times these people, their thinking is pretty advanced, and it might take a while to understand what they're trying to say in the proper context. So it's just something to think about. I don't know. Maybe some responses would be helpful. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. Take care.